Hello! Why am I wearing a hat? I'll tell you later. Welcome back to Overclock Showcase. Of course, if you watched the end of the last episode, you would know that this week, Seeker rounds for the Smart Rifle. An Overclock that I absolutely adore. That's right. I'm gay. I think it is actually my favourite Smart Rifle Overclock, like straight up. It's awesome, and I will both be explaining and hopefully also showing why. We're not starting with that build, we're starting with this build. This thing is fucking sick. This is also the first one of these I've recorded after the On the Horizon stream happened. Roll call delay. Season 6 is coming soon. These things that I will definitely not be able to not talk about during the video, but for now, let's focus on Seeker rounds. It's not like we're getting new secondary Overclocks in Season 6. Probably next time, because there'll be more seasons. Anyway, so Seeker rounds is actually a really simple Overclock when it comes down to it. Basically, what it does, it makes it so that your locked on shots, basically, they just always hit. So as long as you have the lock and the lock is held when you fire, it will find that target through terrain and through their armor. So it does ignore armor. It actually still breaks armor though. I think a lot of people don't realize this. It still can break armor, and because the Smart Rifle has a built-in slight bonus against armor, it's still good at armor breaking. It just doesn't need it because it ignores it anyway. So the best example of this is probably the fact that you can hit an oppressor from any angle, right? Something like that. It probably puts it in best perspective. And obviously with the oppressor, because of how that works, that's always hitting the weak point. But it doesn't really make a difference. Seeker rounds doesn't seek out the weak point. As usual, it aims for the enemy's center of mass. But if you do have the bullet hit the weak point, if you curve the bullet path into the weak point, it will still work as normal. You can also maintain locks at wider angles. That just plays into the fact that you can hold the lock in ways that you might not be able to, especially like when you want to be shooting it behind walls and things like that. And basically what you lose, you slightly longer reload time. I personally don't feel it very much, and slower burst rate of fire, which I definitely do feel, but I don't find is very impactful to the performance at all. So why is Seeker rounds good? Well, let's start with the fact that everyone else is stupid except for me. Seeker rounds has kind of been, I wouldn't say necessarily lambasted unfairly. By some people, definitely. Waste and Lazy Maybe, for example. I'm pretty sure they really dunked on this thing. I cannot respect that. Seeker rounds is actually genuinely fantastic. And I will attempt to, well, okay, I will explain why. But I know that it doesn't mean I'm going to convince you just because I have an explanation, but I will still really genuinely give it my all. And by the end of this, you will learn why Seeker rounds is actually the best thing since bread. So, build number one. Obviously, so Seeker rounds, it is an extension of the Smart Rifle. It's not like Explosive Chemical rounds, but obviously that's a crowd clearing overclock, right? Seeker rounds is still going to be based in what you would normally use a Smart Rifle one. So I would say picking off high value targets, and in when you are built for it, pretty good single target damage as well. This one is a little bit of both of those things. The next one is going to be, they're both kind of both of those things, but they kind of go, they just, you know. Oh. Are we good on the frames? Encoding overloaded. Oh no. Anyway, obviously the principle of the series is to make two relatively distinct builds. So this one, both of them use electrochemical rounds. Electrochemical rounds gives a bonus against a burning or electrocuted target, and that damage bonus stacks, by the way, with both fire and electricity. So that's why we're taking electric generator mod. So we have a lot of ammo, and that means a lot of electrocutions and a lot of chances to deal increased damage. We also have a PGL that is built in the most batshit insane way I've ever built a PGL. Like, genuinely. This thing is really stupid. It's hard to rationalize because, first of all, compact rounds. The compact rounds is an overclock that you should probably never use. It's not very good. it gets completely blown out of the water by a G250 in almost every capacity. The only thing it's got going for it is this. I've discovered something about compact rounds that I actually really like. You can get a total of 200 damage from a single shot. Not area damage. It's 140 area damage plus 60 direct damage. That results in 200 damage to a target that is hit directly, basically. What that also means is 100 fire damage when you take incendiary compound. So what that means is it has enough heat to, I think, set on fire literally anything except patrol bots, and I guess above that threshold. So that obviously includes Nemesis, and like bosses and things like that. Praetorians, though, we can set on fire in one shot. And you're already thinking, Harry, shut the fuck up. Oh, shit. Anyway, so what I imagine you're already thinking is, why not just use volatile impact mixture or reactor, just for the most efficient way to heat enemies up? Well, that's because you have to wait for it. And you kind of have to dance around the enemy anyway. And the point of Seeker rounds, for me, is to not have to do that. Now, if we were to, say, be using Executioner, absolutely volatile impact reactor, for sure. Same probably goes for Smart Trigger. But I found, for some reason, specifically for Seeker rounds, this style of setting bigger enemies on fire works very well. And yet, you don't need this build for most things, but you do need it for Praetorians, and I think that is genuinely the most important thing. This also applies to Oppressors, but I somehow haven't run into one when practicing for this, so I'm just going to assume that it works. Also, other sources of fire, like Inferno and Volatile Impact Reactor, they sustain the fire themselves. The PGL, its fire upgrade is extremely strong, but it is just an upgrade. It's not like an exceptionally powerful overclock or anything. So it's very normal fire that's only going to be upkept by it spreading between enemies. But what electrochemical rounds does, because of how elemental damage bonuses work, is going to deal its bonus damage in the form of fire damage, but also the equivalent heat. So it does keep enemies on fire, pretty much as long as you're shooting them. So we have a very effective way to gain both the damage bonuses from the fire and from the electrocution, sort of just in one go, without having to use unstable lock mechanism that forces you to go to full locks. I'm still using shutter speed sensor, and shutter speed sensor and zoom lens, not the best pairing. I felt the need to use zoom lens though, because I really wanted to play up the fact that this is the one where I'm really playing into being able to hold the locks at wider angles, right? Because we set our big enemies on fire just like one fell swoop, like one stroke, and then we can kind of play around them with the smart rifle as much as we want, because the fire is such a one and done thing. I felt like I had a better explanation for why this is good, but you're just going to have to settle with that, and hopefully in practice you'll see why this makes sense. So yeah, this is basically the build. So it's basically, we get the electrocution, we get a lot of electrocutions, very easy to apply that at damage and the damage bonus, and we get the fire damage bonus as well, very easily applied by PGL, which is a crowd clearing tool. Yes, it is, but not exclusively. We got plasma bursters in tow, which are going to be our, really, when it comes to like grunt swarms of things, I'd rather be using a plasma burster, so you'll see a lot of that. They pair together very well. In total, we do have a good amount of AoE. And a very reliable fella here for, so basically it's like the electrocution and electrochemical round gives it really good potential for just killing sort of weaker priority enemies like acid spitters, and then it's the combination of the two that packs the punch for bigger targets. So for example, a Stingtail, even though Stingtails, they're not the lightest enemies, I probably wouldn't use the BGL against them, because Seeker rounds just go straight through that armor and immediately gets a damage bonus from the electrocution. It works very well, and well, you kind of already heard why Seeker rounds is so good just in that little explanation there. But first, I'm going to tell you why I'm wearing a hat. Basically, I have excess, ear blockage build up. It could be from not properly maintaining the interior of my oral nodes, and it probably is. The thing is, like, they tell you like cotton buds are actually not that good for this kind of thing, or Q-tips. Actually, you know what you should use, because they push it further in, and I wouldn't say I was pushing like wax build up further in, but that doesn't mean they were doing a particularly good job at cleaning my ears either. So yeah, I just out of nowhere, a bit of an excessive build up. I do wear earphones like a lot more than most people, especially because I wear earphones like I am right now. Whenever I'm like using my Xbox, or you know, whenever I would use a headset, I'm actually using earphones instead. I think we are going to be conceding because I think my engine is pretty close, level 25. But yeah. So that is going on, and so that is something I'm going to be getting treatment for. But for now, something I'm doing that is recommended is using these olive oil eardrops at night, and frankly, they're not making it feel better at the moment. They're just sort of basically just loosening all the build up until the point I actually get it all removed. But what they are doing for sure is making my ears really oily, so the earphones are prone to sliding out. So the hat is there to hold the earphones in, basically. So yeah, fun stuff. It's not a particularly detrimental medical condition, but it has been affecting me like spatially. So like my spatial awareness and balance is definitely off, and this is something that's been on and off for a while. So you know, basically, if you have something wrong, unless like you live in America, get it checked out. It's always worthwhile. You don't want to be living with things that are like actually very obviously problems and then just not doing anything about it. You deserve better, I would say, unless you're American. Yeah, but I think that means now that's out of the way, I get to talk about seek rounds. So ignoring armor is the entire crux of why seek round, and I've done this before. And the second build is going to be a build you've probably seen before from me. But I've been through this rationale before, but it's really just the fact that it just goes through everything. Yes, the smart rifle does have a higher default armor multiplier than usual, but that does not mean that it doesn't waste bullets going through armor. And the fact that it can do that, the fact that you could like strike a Praetorian or even just a guard among many other enemies with normal bullets, and they will need to be used up to break that armor, you are losing damage. Therefore, you gain damage when you have a weapon that completely just ignores the armor. It literally does more damage, and that includes against grunts, because grunts have light armor that if you're not hitting exclusively their flesh or the weak point, the bullet has to put some of its energy into breaking that armor. Seeker rounds gives you more damage against damn near everything. And that's a fact, you can quote me on that. And of course the fact that you can shoot an enemy from anywhere makes it really good against certain things. Dreadnoughts, for example, and oppressors I've already mentioned. There are absolutely reasons to use this thing, like over other options. The swarmers are still gonna fine. Swarmers are actually a reason I don't mind having the wider lens, because I always use macro lens on the smart rifle, but macro lens makes it much worse against swarmers than it normally is. So I'm glad I avoided that for at least one of these builds. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say I used the PGL excessively there either. Anything that kind of has a just a higher health pool. Obviously, this Praetorian is our #1 target. Hi there. And the idea is to avoid shooting the enemy when they're not electrocuted. So you kind of want to avoid those little windows where you might be accidentally shooting it when it becomes unelectrocuted. But if you can get through that, you basically have constant uptime on both damage bonuses. And that's another thing, because we're playing, we're playing so much with windows of opportunity with these damage bonuses. The ability to shoot the enemy from any angle basically means all you have to think about is the window and not allowing for it. It's literally just the status effects themselves that you need to consider, not your positioning, as to whether or not you're actually hitting the enemy. And I think that's actually very valuable. But yeah, but of course we've got more firepower than just these two weapons in our build. Mass bursters, turret. Oh yeah, those two things basically. Typically, I would only want to use... That was bad. That was bad. Typically, though, I'd only really want to use the PGL against crowds if this is a really, like, really dense crowd of enemies. Or occasionally, I do find Bacterias to justify it. At least I would say they do. That probably should kill it because, like I've said, the elemental damage bonus exacerbates the fire effect, so that thing will stay on fire for longer, so this should be really easy, for example. That thing will almost definitely die now. Oh shit, he survived. News to me. Right, where's that mule? Up there, is it? Yeah, so hopefully you're seeing something already that is just highly synergistic with itself. This is genuinely the most interested I've been in the PGL in a long time. I think mainly because it's compact round, and I was like, basically, I wanted to see if I could make the PGL reliably deal enough fire damage to set Praetorians on fire. Because you can do it unreliably fairly easily with like clean sweep and then homebrew powder, or nails and tape, what it's called in the context of the PGL. So you can actually achieve it fairly easily. So my brain's a little bit scrambled, so forgive me. Yeah, I'm not gonna be on top form. Yeah. Oh, Presso. Do you mind? Do you mind? Yeah. Well, I will say something that we don't necessarily have too much of in this build is safe crowd control. Both of our AoE options. What the fuck is going on? I seriously, what is this? Okay, I just need to get clear. What am I doing? Both of our AoE options. They both fear enemies, right? So they have crowd control built into them, but they are not safe for our health. Not good for our health, basically. What the fuck? Okay. Right, now I need to do this experiment. Okay, good. Good to know. Anything. If you know a press... Okay. Oh, I'm back. I'm back. If you understand how oppressors work, you know that they basically cool down extremely quickly. So yeah, it still managed to cool off, it still managed to shed the actual fire status effect, but it did not do so quickly at all. It's normally very quick. God, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I don't feel like dizzy right now or anything, so I can't really blame that. I'm just not. I guess I'm just not 100% there.
Where is that damn tin can?
Cognitively, it definitely seems that way, doesn't it? Maybe it's the hat. It's crushing my brain. I mean, I do hate wearing hats. I hate having things on my head. So, which is that's the reason why I wear That's the reason why I wear earphones anyway, instead of headphones, because I genuinely just can't stand having things on my head. It always feels like it's just applying a lot of pressure. Also, my chair constantly sinking doesn't help either. It's like more things to think about than just the game.
Come here.
And I just remembered that I plan on doing industrial sabotage for the second mission.
I've got a bad feeling.
We'll see if that happens.
But not as bad as usual.
But for now, I'm going to pause and just collect gun seed for a bit. Alright, they didn't give me too much time for that. One of these things to kill. There we go. Easy. What are you still doing here? think that was fairly justified, using 2 counter bursters there. What is my current nitro count? Is that enough to kill it? Okay, nitro count's pretty good actually. So I think I might actually cater to that. I might get a resupply now. I mean, I've only got 1 grenade, so it's gone now. No. My sentry ammo is a bit high. Why am I using the sentry Mark II, I wonder? I just don't have a particularly good reason for that. But I do have a certain favour for it. I used to be fairly one note on using just Gemini turrets, and then I would use like the Mark II for certain builds. I wouldn't say the ones I even used it on really made sense, but I think I like it. I like that it keeps things really simple. You know, it's kind of just like a little single, you know, single turret partner for you to just bring around with you. That's why I almost wish it could deploy a bit quicker, or even automatically. Even that would actually make the Mark II a much more tempting offer. Because Gemini is better, so if they really just up the convenience factor of the Mark II to like the maximum. Because I'm actually going to, because I'm autistic as hell, I'm actually going to wait around for more enemies to appear so that the turret can use up some of its ammo. So I'll get back to you when that happens. Yeah, here. Oh, shellback. Well, the shellback's actually a weird one because the shellback actually works for this, but obviously they have a weird thing of not really getting electrocuted properly. But you definitely can set them on fire with a single grenade or a single PGL shot. So that works for the build in that way. Alright, we're really just going to leave these guys around and let the turret do all the work here, I think. Which is not smart, but it's what I'm doing. Alright, there it goes. Okay. So that was the build without any of the elements of the actual build. That's just Mark II turret just doing its thing. And I would say, given, you know, okay, I suppose it wasn't a particularly deadly group of enemies, but I wouldn't say I had to expend too much effort on movement there to just sort of navigate around that and stay safe while the turret did all the work. Oh god, I've already used up 2 revives though. That is pretty bad for this. Not a great showing. I know that in time and with counselling you'll come to forgive me, but... So doing this should pretty much guarantee a couple enemies to spawn, so... Any moment now.
New operational. Well done.
Eliminate with extreme prejudice. Alright. Fair enough. Wasn't a very, once again, wasn't a very seek-around-y encounter, was it? But what does that even mean at the end of the day? At the end of the day, what even is a seek-around? Also, that's an oppressor, so it's just, yep. Damn it. If you let it go for a moment, it will just fall itself very easily. Yeah. So, the oppressor thing's a little bit weird, but I think it still applies. The thing is, the oppressor volatile impact reactor would be very good against them, because it just keeps them on fire because of the magma below them, beneath them. So yeah, volatile impact reactor would still be perfectly fine for this. I just think the real specifics of Seeker rounds, I think, give this weird PGL thing some value. It does kind of boil down to me not wanting to repeat builds that I've done in the past, and also the idea of using compact rounds for this just was so funny and unlikely to me. I thought the fact that I've got, like, I see any merit to this, I think means I should use it, you know?
Secondary objective completed. Make it home to collect your bonus.
Hate to wait
All
for
right.
fire charger. One sentry gun.
Once again, though, we got more turret ammo than I'd like. I might not do the same thing I did earlier, though. I might just let things play out more naturally. Alright, you go to drop pod.
The mules are heading back. Follow them and let's get to that drop pod. Remember,
Alright, we're about to begin. Oh, I didn't really mean to do that. Alright, I'm going to need a resupply, even though I've got more turret ammo than half.
zone or we will lose the connection.
And this is where we get really, really liberal with how I use my weapons. Because otherwise, we're just going to die. And nobody wants that.
Triangulation at 50%. You need to stay inside the triangulation zone. Get back in there.
I don't think using 2 grenades on the presser isn't particularly bad. Like, I think that's not bad at all, actually.
Reloading. Don't let him flank you.
Triangulation at 75%. Almost there.
Locked and loaded. Reloading.
Just notice I haven't actually talked about any of the Season 6 or Road Core stuff. But then again, I have been recording videos on them, obviously, on those bits of news, as you would have seen at the time. So maybe it doesn't make too much sense to talk about it now, especially because this is obviously quite a bit on from that stuff being revealed. But, I mean, I just think the fact that Season 6 is happening soon is so interesting. And obviously passing it off to a new studio. Well, okay. Passing it off is, I think, very unfair language, actually. They're being shepherded. They're basically shepherding a new studio into being able to make DLG content, which I think is a really interesting move. I don't think you really see that anywhere. Like, you know, a different studio taking over a pre-existing game. You might see it with franchises. Who knows what I'm referring to there? But an individual game is definitely it's something new. I've never seen anything like that. But at the same time, they are a local developer. They're literally a 15-minute walk from Ghost Ship. They seem to trust them with the vision of Deep Rock, and it's still not going to be their vision. It's still going to be Ghost Ship's game, but it's going to be heavily guided by them, mainly like Mikkel and Mike. But it's definitely a interesting way forward. And my explanation that I mainly actually gave in the Rogue Core like delay news video was that for a lot of players like me, Deep Rock has kind of done its duty as a game already. Even if I'm able to still play it pretty regularly because of these videos, I've had enough of Deep Rock to know that I'm not married to the way it currently is. So even if like this new studio, it does feel different, that's not a bad thing because I'm satisfied with what I've gotten out of Deep Rock up to this point. It changing, it's not, the chance of it changing for the worse are so little. So even if it changes in a way that's unexpected, but still overall, I would say for the better,
Supply arrived. Go restock.
it's only a good thing, I think, really, because it's just more content. I don't need Deep Rock. I don't gain anything from Deep Rock staying the exact same way forever. Even if I could play it this way forever, Also, I remember doing this before. There's something about the resupply that blocks the pipeline. So, okay, that should do it. Yeah, it's really annoying because it means the resupply is basically validated, so I'm actually going to put another one in.
Supplies are on the way.
And for now, I'm actually going to take from this one because we might want the
Prepare the fuel cells.
one over there for emergencies. Oh, that's empty.
Red sugar.
Okay, now where am I going to put this turret? Probably here, I reckon.
One sentry gun ready to be built.
Right, let's do it.
It's armed and ready.
So yeah, I have no issue with the way things are going for Deep Rock. I think it's the obvious intention here is for this to equate to more regular content. So season 6 is not going to be one of finality. It's really going to be sort of a restart. And I think you can see that it's not like a last hurrah. And I mean, the fact that there is a new biome and mission type in one update, which is actually big even for like pre-seasons. But it doesn't feel like a last hurrah of like let's try and get in everything that we can like season 5 was. Because I think there's going to be plenty more opportunities in the future. I mean, that's the intention. And that's why a new studio is doing it. And I think it's just so weird. It's weird and interesting, and obviously it's going to feel mixed no matter what. But I do think on the whole it's very positive. Hopefully you're seeing right now, though, by the way, why like things like the fire rate being like penalized by the overclock doesn't really matter, or even the reload time. I think the reload time feels pretty good. Obviously, I am reload cancelling, to be fair, but I don't have any issues with it.
Fuel cells at 75%. You're almost there.
Yes, I did it. Okay, I kept that oppressor on fire the entire time. Very happy with that.
You're jeopardizing the mission. You need to stay close to the fuel cells. Stay close to the fuel cells.
Okay, I got through it. Cool. I almost wasn't. Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't expecting to, but obviously it was a pretty rocky start. I wouldn't say I locked in. I just kind of regained my mental faculties during that, and now we're back. We're back.
Hard reactor spooling up.
But yeah, I find this to be a very satisfying build. Like, this is the kind of build I would actually want to keep around to use in the future, because there's a future now. I mean, look, I know it sounds weird. What I mean by that is, though, my current sort of approach to Deep Rock is really, it's been exclusively these videos, so I haven't actually gone out of my way to just use whatever I feel like using. And I think it's going to stay that way for a while, but I think when season 6 hits, I'll be like, okay, I'm still good, probably be mostly playing for the videos ultimately, but I think like when I'm just playing the new content for the first time and things like that, working through the past, like I've got to give myself leeway to use what I want. Which is why it's like the only thing about season 6 that I can't say I'm like a massive fan of is the lack of like any kind of equipment, but it's making up for that. We're getting a mission and a biome in one go, and I think even some warnings I'm pretty sure are coming. Obviously the new enemy faction, quite a lot of stuff, just nothing on the equipment front, and I think Michael said pretty much nothing really balance wise either, so that is a bit of a bummer. But obviously you can see why. They just sort of, they are actually putting that into other places, and so I guess it'd be like season 7 we'll be looking towards the secondary open overclocks, maybe a pretty decent balance pass, perks potentially. I mean, they did mention that. I am also pretty confident at this point now that more guns is something we'll see probably within the next 2 years. That sounds a bit crazy still, but what it means by the end of 2027, I think there'll be something in the way of new weapons or a tangible thing, because they've already talked about how Rogue Core is basically a testing bed for new weapons, and like Mike's been very like upfront about that. Like, we could easily bring these over as the baseline, like default version of a new Deep Rock weapon, and there's quite a few examples of Rogue Core that I would love to see that for, especially like the battle rifle, probably the gorilla bolter, definitely. Anyway, like I said, I was going to do the okay, yeah, I think we can do that. That's with sabotage. But yeah, I think seeing new weapons in Deep Rock's future is now more likely than ever because basically it's a new. Making weapons in Deep Rock is a massive burden, but this studio is fresh to making Deep Rock. So it'll be the first time for them, and basically they can just take if they want, they can just take Rogue Core weapons and just turn them into Deep Rock weapons, build them up as their own version of like, oh, what would we make this weapons upgrades and overclocks look like in our own like sort of our own creative pipeline. I think it could be really interesting and make for really interesting 4th generation weapons. Anyway, build number 2. This is the one that uses unstable lock mechanism. So we're going all in on damage in a slightly different way. So we have with us the only way to electrocute enemies with a engineer secondary, which is high voltage crossover on the breach cutter. Now, technically speaking, I should be doing a elimination. Now, I am not going to do that because, first of all, I would have done that before with high voltage crossover itself, that video, which I think I think I might have to link it in the description of this. And actually, that's pretty much the main reason, actually. But that is kind of what high voltage crossover allows for, though. Unlike fire, electrocution, well, there's a lot of things that electrocution can be applied to that fire can't be. Dreadnoughts are a big one. Robots are technically one as well, because obviously if you set a robot on fire, it dies. So, being able to electrocute a patrol bot without killing it means that we get to use the smart rifle on it. So we have damage, we have macro lens, hyper focus, electrochemical rounds, of course. Again, it's kind of like, this is almost like an automatic pick in this tier, honestly, for me, across the entire smart rifle. Doesn't really change. Shutter speed sensor is pretty similar to that. Unstable lock mechanism. Now, I think it's fairly obvious why we're not using the electric generator mod. I've already explained. So we end up with the same overall bonus damage as we do with the other build. It's just a difference in how we apply it and when we can use it. So that's why dreadnoughts are such a big part of this build, because you can't set them on fire normally, but you can electrocute them, and that means you can get the 40% damage bonus of both of these things together, as opposed to the 20% that you would get from just one of them. Obviously, we get that 40% on the other build from the fire, but we can't set certain things on fire. So that is literally all it comes down to. High voltage crossover allows for that. The very strong, very like powerful sort of Omni tool is going to be clearing crowd for us pretty well, but also setting up certain enemies for the damage bonuses too. So we have ammo for sure, distance as well in case we want to like tackle something further away. If we get a nemesis, for example, that'd be awesome. It's got stun, it's kind of just better, and we don't really need the armor breaking, of course. Double split line, all these things. And shredders really just keep the whole thing. They're not really part of the build, but they do kind of help keep the whole thing in check. Okay, let's go. Ah. But it's actually getting dark, isn't it? Not actually, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon. But at this time of year in Britain, it honestly kind of starts dimming at this point, or at least certainly by like 2. It's gonna... the slight decline will begin. Light levels. Yeah, I guess I could talk about the roll call delay. Yeah, that's something I've just done. The video about that I did record on the day that I'm recording this, so basically for me it came down to the fact that I have no problem with the roll call delay. Like genuinely none. I don't think it means... I don't think there's... There are obviously negatives to it. I think a big one would be like it demonstrates that the development process hasn't been as like clean as perhaps they probably wanted. I think their vision isn't, and it's not the vision isn't strong. It's just taken longer for them to actually consecrate what their vision for the game is. I don't think that's a bad thing for the eventual product. I just think it's something to take note of. So a delay isn't. I don't think calling it a 100% good thing all the time is actually that smart. I think it will ultimately be a good thing for Rocore, and the main reason I like it is because it just gives me more time to figure out the hardware side of things. what am I going to be playing Rocore on? Is it going to be Steam's new console? You know? Like, I don't know for sure. I might still want a PC, but obviously there are things in motion and there's a lot more time to consider the options. I think the main thing though for me, for the Steam machine, I think knowing that it is just as malleable as a PC in regards to Steam normally is, would kind of be the thing. Like, not that it should be all decided by one game, but for example, am I going to be able to mod Skyrim in the same way that a standard PC user can? Right? Because for example, you know, we already have Skyrim mods on console, so am I going to be able to use Nexus, for example? Maybe not, because that's not inherently tied to Steam. So I would say there's definitely things to consider there. It's just what it really would be is a much more affordable and just straightforward way to get to Jesus Christ, to get to being able to play. So that should be at full locks. There's no reason to do full locks. I guess Steam exclusives or things that are only current on Steam, like obviously Rocore, Hades 2, Dispatch. Yes, you know we do. You know, but being on Xbox, you lose access to certain things. Anyway, I've got to be careful with this build because you can eat through smart rifle ammo very quickly if you're not careful. So, where appropriate, I will be using just a breach cutter to really help clean things up and set things up. It should not go underutilized. You have 20 ammo. That's actually a lot for a weapon where I would say by default it is more powerful than PGL shot in almost all circumstances, and almost always has more ammo than the PGL. Do not undervalue the fact that you have a lot of breach cutter ammo. Even in this, where our magazine's cut in half, and we can't really alleviate that because we really need the lifetime, so I can't really increase the magazine size. Yeah, it's a lot of ammo, and I need to keep that in mind. Speaking of a lot of ammo, we probably will have a lot of ammo because Industrial Sabotage is just like to lay it on thick. Ah, look at that. One of the nice things about high voltage crossover as well, though, is that electrocution effect lasts for quite a while. Certainly much longer than... Also, the turrets haven't used any ammo yet. Certainly much longer than the smart rifle's own electrocution, for example. Okay, you guys can take care of that. But yeah, high voltage crossover is great. I'm pretty sure it lets the breach cutter one-shot guards, so that's a winner in my book. Or one-shot them fairly reliably. Of course, it's not always going to make enough contact to do that without fail, but it's got a higher chance than... Well, Inferno is actually probably the most reliable way to kill guards with the breach cutter, with like a single shot. Or even Return to Sender, or Spinning Death. Breach Cutter's really good, basically. Right, let's not be coy about this. I'm gonna really hit this mission hard, I think. Okay. Oh, more nitro. Wow. So, sniper turrets. Sniper turrets. I know what to do against these. Because, okay, and so that was fine, but that was like a full 12 shots. It looks like the breach cutter can pretty much do it by itself, so I could really go for either one, but it's not going to be both. I don't really need both weapons to deal with sniper turrets. Which is nice. You don't necessarily want to have to be comboing them for everything. Okay, I jumped into this room thinking I could just get on with stuff, but there's a lot more, well, turrets first of all than I realised. Hit that guy? Did. Ooh, that was clean! Holy shit. I never even thought about doing it that way. So, hold on, I'll explain what just happened in a moment. You might not even understand why I'm so, like, excited. Can I hit both of those with a single shot? No. Okay, so that one's going to have to get that. Oh shit. Ah, now something I've still never been able to figure out about about unstable lock mechanism. So the tier 5 that I'm using on the smart rifle, I don't know if it works if you don't have a full magazine or not. I actually don't know. Okay, once again, way too much turret ammo. Yeah, I don't know if it works. Like, because obviously, if you have less than 12 shots left in your magazine, a full lock is going to be less than what it usually is. So does it count as a full lock? I don't know. I hope it does, but I don't know. Anyway, what I got so excited about there was the goo bomber kill, where gets better. The lower fire rate of Seeker rounds actually made it so I had time to curve the bullets round while it was bursting, while the burst was firing, into its individual weak points. Seeker round wins again. That's actually so cool. I never even thought about doing it like that. That is so weird and just nice. It's just a nice thing to have under its belt. I never even considered. Okay, we got our first patrol bot here. So it's pretty fair. All burst from the smart rifle, one shot from the breach cutter. Well, yeah, the other way around, of course, but that's kind of the threshold.
Platform up.
I'm not sure why that. I feel like I've done stuff like this so many times without it killing me. I don't know why that had to kill me. What the hell? Anyway, yeah, to make it easy, I'm going to cut through here.
Not ready yet.
I've never had something like that actually kill me, or at least not recently. God damn. Okay.
Ready.
Anyway, I'm thinking about what's next. Isn't it? Oh shit, secondaries again. It's the bulldog. I think it's the bulldog next. Oh god. Okay. I think I've already done volatile bullets. I've only done volatile bullets and chain hit, right? Anyway, pretty sure.
Sentry gun needs assembling.
They're here. Oh shit. Actually, that might be a really good place for resupply, because that's still within view of the caretaker, but pretty far from it. So if I ever need to, take a substantial detour during the caretaker fight, I'll know where to go.
Time to restock.
Alright, I think I am going to start this without resupplying. I probably will have to resupply during, though, but I think a single shredder grenade can probably allow for that.
Over here.
They're very strong still.
Magic Haxie.
The hacking drone is hacking away. Keep it safe, team.
See that guy might. It's not going to die to the execution, so I will kill it, like outright. But
Bogeys on the hacking drone.
something that I do. There is something I really like about the smart rifle. The smart rifle just feels like a really good thing for killing Stingtails. Genuinely, it just regularly seems to come out as a pretty effective way of taking care of them. Which is to say, by the way, I think I finally am able to say I do genuinely like the smart rifle quite a bit. Especially after the smart trigger got added, and I've realised that explosive chemical rounds is very good, and then even Eraser isn't okay clean. Armor Break module remains a pretty terrible filler, and Neuro Lasso is just absolute dog ass, but on the whole, smart rifle's kind of got it going on, actually. I actually really like how... I think its damage is also really nice. I think it does a really good amount of damage per shot, with or without the main damage upgrade. Either way, it's got a pretty good number.
Getting more ammo.
Keep the hacking drone secure. Get those bastards off the hacking drone now, damn it.
You saw how much damage we did there when we actually hitting that guard's face.
Without the hacker bot. Control bot pacified. Hacking. Hacker bot is back online. Reloading.
Hack commencing.
I was born ready. Go. pod is now our friend.
That's it for the first power station. One more, and we can take down the force field.
That's it. Back school. Down the hatch.
Okay, that was very, very clean. I'm going to very quickly check that room for any more nitra. Those zombies are coming. That guy. His problem.
Don't waste your ammunition.
Oh. Huh. Well, alright then. Where is the upper path? Around here somewhere. I like that. I like the idea of a gold chunk being the hit marker because of golden bugs. Yeah, wait. Okay, there it is. Right. We're good. I know what's good. I know what's going on. Alan. We're fucked, man. Alright, let's try that again. Oh. Okay, that didn't go as well. Shouldn't be too hard to replicate though. The goo bomber thing of bending it round to hit both weak points.
Go get him, boy. Light it up. Can't move. Repulsion turret eliminated. Taste the pickaxe. Things around.
I was actually clearing out this room pretty much by myself, like off screen, but they're here. I'm actually fucked up and executing that warden quite badly. Anyway, there's also a curse site infection in here, and I do wonder if that might get me like significantly closer to getting my engineer to level 25. Okay, that's also good. That's pretty close to the... So yeah. I wasn't sure if I was going to resupply in here either, but now I definitely will. So that's good. So let's, I'm actually going to do... I'm going to do the curse site off screen. It's just not going to be particularly... Well, I guess it will demonstrate Praetorian killing pretty well. Oh, well, don't know if we're going to get Praetorians. For sure, you know. Can't just say, oh, we'll get to kill Praetorians. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, always assume the worst. I'm pretty sure that's like 3 stingtails in there. Is it? At least 2. Another one behind? No, okay, so it's just 2. Fine. Oh, those shots didn't all hit the Praetorian. Either way, you haven't really seen it too cleanly during this, but killing Praetorians with this build is so easy. Great. It's really good at it, basically. No, I didn't want to do that. Wait, come on, hurry up. I mean, no, it's a bit weird because I'm going to cut as soon as the event starts if it's not Praetorians, so... Actually, will I? Praetorians, so that works.
Activated. Aliens infected with Cursite are going to be drawn to your location. Kill them, grab the samples, and stuff them in the machine for further analysis.
Alan. Do you know what? Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I actually do want to do this event properly. I don't want to like drag it out, so let's get that in the machine. I don't really need to use the breach cut to shot this guy. Let's be honest. I'm also going to go straight into doing the next power station with this anyway, so... In fact, I probably could have used that as like a nuke if things got really bad while doing this. But oh well.
Nicely done, team. The core infuser is primed and ready.
Ready to use.
Hack begun. It's noisy business and is attracting the bugs. Guard the hacking pod.
Alan. Sorry, I can't... I don't know why I can't stop doing that.
The hacking drone is under attack. Keep it safe so it can work.
Noted. Predator swarm deployed.
Okay, I'll take your resupply. It makes you happy. Probably don't give a shit.
Reloading.
Right, I think I'm actually going to be okay on Nitro though. I don't think I actually need more Nitro, to be honest. Like for the caretaker fight. Okay, that was a bit weird.
We need some pest control on the hacking drone. Blast it. The hacking drone has stopped. Kill those critters off it now.
Gotta restart the hacking drone ASAP.
There won't be any new overclocks in there too soon.
Hacking commencing again.
I'm not like bitter about that. It's just I think it is just the thing I wanted most was just them to round off the overclocks. There's some new secondary ones, but season 6 being like soon just doesn't quite register. But I'll be damned if it isn't nice.
For the power station.
It is. It's really nice. Oh, Bulo caps.
Field. They'll just be running on emergency power now.
I haven't really thought about those too much. Even though I have gotten 15 already. Oh.
Oh, I can't carry anymore.
Alright. Ah, 3 wardens. Look at that. It's amazing.
Clipping one down.
That was all a bit weird. Fuck it. Predators. Anyway, there's still more Bulo caps to find, and I don't know where they are. Okay, so I'm not really sure I have the constitution for a caretaker fight right now, but there's just going to be a lot of ammo dumping. The British cutter is, of course, very good for a couple things here, mainly for cleaving through the vents and hopefully hitting appendages at the same time, because we can't electrocute the caretaker in any way, but we can electrocute the appendages, which will make them very easy to kill for the smart rifle. So there's a bit of a plan there. And then the smart rifle will obviously be dealing pretty much all the damage to the actual eye. So I think it can lock onto the caretaker from any angle. I'm pretty sure. So Seeker rounds might actually have a lot of value here, unlike usual.
Focus fire on the caretaker's glowing bit. Gotta wait for the rates off. Attack!
Wait, can it hit through the? It looks. I think it can hit through those things. Should be able to, obviously. Point of Seeker rounds. But as usual, the smart rifle remains not as smart as you would necessarily like it to be. Like, you'd actually have to switch off the weapon to stop from overusing ammo.
Find the open eye and shoot it.
Okay, so that can... Okay, it can't hit. Okay, so there you go. There's a pretty... Okay, let's not have that get me killed. It's a pretty definitive weakness, actually, I'd say, of Seeker rounds, what we just witnessed there. But it's obviously quite localized to the caretaker.
Weapon ready.
The fact that it will just hit the caretaker's body and not the eye, even when you're locked onto it. That's kind of... Seeker rounds is kind of meant to be able to handle that kind of thing without doing stuff like that. So I'm not sure I can really justify that at all. That's pretty what's the word? Not lazy, but that's definitely slip up on the ship's part. It should not behave like that. It should definitely be able to do that.
Be sharp. The caretaker can teleport these space bombs anywhere. Shoot the open vent.
That's not good. Really? Would you be able to one-shot you? I mean, it's been so long since I've been caught that red-handed by a bomber, an exploder. I didn't realise they could just one-tap you like that, to be honest. Guess it's hazard 5. I know. Anyway, so obviously another thing that I can't really condone is kind of the kind of things that really just stick with me that I don't like about Deep Rock, is like where things just don't do things they should obviously do. Shredders don't do anything during the caretaker fight. When they will, it's when it spawns things that aren't the caretaker. So if it spawns shredders or patrol bots or turrets, it can attack those, and that's when you would use them. It's a very easy thing to like decide on. But like right now, they're not doing anything. Well, I guess they'll attack the patrol bot. How that's out, but. It's like, I don't agree. There's no reason for this to do nothing. I'm not that everything should be strong against everything, but it shouldn't do nothing to an enemy that is very clearly there. It's just it's a pointless oversight, I think. It's like the way I put it. It's pointless. There's no good reason for that to be done that way.
The caretaker is expanding its defenses with turrets. Shoot the glowing bit.
It's suddenly getting a lot brighter. I mean, we do have sunlight in Britain occasionally. Oh, turrets.
I was born ready. Flares ain't ready. Accurate, but dead. Eat lead.
I managed to walk into all of those barriers. I mean, I wasn't trying. I wasn't trying to avoid them, I'll be honest.
Sniper turret disabled. Born ready.
There we go. Lovely.
Fire the caretaker's eye. Shredder swarm. Reloading. Weapon ready. Yes, I took out the caving. No good reason.
I guess that's the most secret roundy thing we can do here, because appendages are such arseholes. That being out of their line of sight when you shoot them sounds like a nice idea, actually.
Bosco, you're best. Shredder's deployed.
Oh, hold on a minute. That looked like they were attacking the caretaker. Hold on, what more definitive proof? Oh, they are. that been the case? You know what? Probably longer than I'd like to admit. Maybe even the whole time.
Caretaker's down. The data rack is ours.
But they, well, I might have known that. But obviously, they don't attack the appendages or vents, which is really stupid. Jesus Christ, that almost hit me.
Red sugar. This'll look good on our performance review.
You did it, team. Data rack is secured.
Come on.
All rival operations in the sector destroyed. Hit the
Right,
button on the
let's get out of here.
ready.
So yeah, that was Seeker Round. Obviously I went down 3 times during that and twice during the last mission. I hope maybe you can see through that and see the value of Seeker Rounds as a very cool way to achieve more damage with the base smart rifle. Just in a very unconventional way, and just add a lot of utility and interesting interactions with the weapons and the damage bonuses that you can apply. Especially that first one. I love that discovery for compact rounds. If I didn't have that, this video would definitely have been a retread of builds that you've seen before, or could have seen before, on the channel. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, no surprise, it's a hard recommendation from me. It is absolutely my favourite smart rifle Overclock. I think it's a more interesting idea than people give it credit for, and I think it's a much better execution than anyone realises. So hats off to Ghost Ship for making something really cool with Seeker rounds that not a lot of people appreciate. But I do. Know that I do. And I love you. And I love Invisible Walls as well. It's your game now as well. So I credit you for Seeker rounds too. If Seeker rounds can or if it can hit the Osirian grabber thing while it's underground, Jesus Christ. Well then, I mean it's going to be good against those things because obviously the Osirian, the Scrabs, the sort of swarmer type, they're sort of big, quite a bit bigger than swarmers though. They're armored, so something that can just hit them unbiasedly, just pick them off as if they are swarmers. Not bad. Not bad. Anyway, so that does bring us to the end. So if you enjoyed this episode of Overclock Showcase, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more stuff like this and you want to stay on top of everything through Deep Rock and Rogue Core, also make sure to click the bell. And as always, thank you to my wonderful member, Box Fox Scoop, the one and only. Not that I don't want more people on that list, but I'm not counting on it either. But yeah, so that is Seeker Rounds. Now we come to the point in the video where I get to find out what next week's Overclock is going to be, and like I think I said already, it's going to be for the Bulldog. So just give me a moment, and I will prepare the Wheel of Fate. We'll find out what next week will bring. So if you don't know how this works, basically we have a Bulldog here, and I will number the Overclocks left to right, top to bottom. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've already done chain hit and volatile bullet, so we leave out 1 and 3, and that leaves us with the this. Beautiful, ain't it? I want to take a picture. Let's find out. I'm down for any of these. Magic bullets would be pretty cool though. Oh, that's not magic bullets. That's something else. Magical. That is, if you were paying attention. Homebrew powder. So I think I've probably got one already. So there's one. It's just that one. So yeah, homebrew powder. That will be next week's Overclock. So look forward to that. I've got a couple ideas for that Overclock, but for now we need to have our company mandated Seeker Rounds themed drink, which I think is just going to have to be Smart Stout. To be honest, I don't love Smart Stout. I'm pretty sure I did it last time as well. But
Let's dance. To the fallen.
all right.
I see everything so clear. The meaning of a dwarf's life is to wait. Let's just get some.
See ya.